When your fans really get to know you and feel like they're a part of your story and a part of what you're conveying, I feel like that's the most success in music.
Hey, welcome to Songwriter Saturday. I'm Kim. I work for Spotify for Artists, and today I am joined by producer-songwriter Boi-1da, who's worked with everybody from Drake to Kanye to Kendrick to Eminem, Cardi B, Lana Del Rey, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Rihanna, plus many more. What's up?
Kim, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining me. What have you been up to? I feel like, you started working in your teens and then you've just been working nonstop ever since. Now you're 33 years old, and I feel like maybe this pandemic was the first time that you actually had a moment where you could pause.
You can tell the future or something? Like, you literally just spoke my whole life. Like, that's basically it. Like, I haven't stopped working nonstop since I was probably 15. The last few months was really the first time I was able to actually get an actual break and really just relax, unwind, spend time with my family. I spent a lot of time with I have a 10-year-old daughter. I got a lot of family. I just moved into a new house, and I just kind of got a chance to finally just enjoy life and just sit still for a while.
So I was curious about back in the day when you were a teenager and you were getting into music, what made you want to be a producer and a songwriter and kind of be behind the scenes as opposed to being front and center?
Well, when I first started out doing music, I originally was rapping with my friends when I was like 14 in high school. Unfortunately, I was a terrible, terrible, terrible rapper, and I was so shy. So I felt like producing songs and making beats and songwriting and being in the background was more of the place for me. Being young, being a little bit shy and introverted, I found comfort in just producing music, lending my ears and eyes behind the scenes. And, I felt more comfortable doing it like that.
I'm curious about your process when it comes to working with someone like Drake, who you have such a long history with, versus when you're walking into a studio with an artist that you have never worked with before. Could you talk to me a little bit about the differences and kind of how you prepare or don't prepare for those two different scenarios?
I've known Drake since I was 17 years old. We've had the opportunity to grow up together, develop together musically, and just be around each other all these years and just be great friends, So it's like, I always have that trust when it comes to him and music. He's never let me down on music ever, or like, he always knows what to do. Whether I'm far away from him, whether I'm in the studio with him, he always delivers. So I always have that comfort. I'm like, okay, it's my guy. I've known this guy forever. But it's a little bit different getting in with people you don't know, because you have to really get to know people. And I feel like the best music comes from really getting to know somebody, having real conversations and transparency within the music. So, like, I go in the studio and talk to somebody and be like, yo, like, what's on your mind today? What's the vibe? Like, what do you feel like talking about? What do you feel like, and like, the conversations just really bring out the music and the transparency in the music. Some artists really don't want to sit there and listen to you like tediously create something from scratch. Some artists really want like just the canvas of just a beat or a track or even some melodies. And then, there's some artists, very few artists, that they just want the whole thing. Like, you got the whole thing ready? Okay, let's do this. It just depends on what type of artist you're working with. It's always different, which is what I love. I like going into random situations, even challenging situations for myself.
What was the point where you kind of transitioned from production and making beats to being like, okay, now I'm a songwriter?
Being in the studio and being motivated, seeing that part of the process and being intrigued by it. I'm still learning on how to be a songwriter. I've been asking questions. I've been bothering my homie Stara. She's like one of the best songwriters in the world. She was saying like, just write songs from what you've experienced and things that are you, like what happened to you today? Like, write a song about it. What happened in your relationship? What happened in your friendship that makes you want to write a song? Sometimes I would just think to write something that's not even going on with me, but it makes more sense to, channel that feeling that you're going through and turn it into music.
So you're from Jamaica originally. You were born in Jamaica, and then you moved to Toronto when you were really young. And I think one thing that has been a real hallmark of your career is how rooted in Toronto you are and how keen you are to not only uncover young artists, but also mentor young artists who are from the same background as you?
Mentoring young artists, young producers, and just people in general, especially from where I'm from, is so important to me because I never had it like that when I was coming up in Toronto. You know, like from afar, like Dr. Dre was like my big bro. I would study him, and he had no idea who I was. Everything Dre did, like I was taking notes, and I was just learning from him and trying to emulate him, his sound and everything as much as possible. And other producers like Timberland, Swiss, Pharrell, the Neptunes in general, I would really listen to them, and it's like they were kind of mentoring me. So I find it very important for myself to mentor as much people as I can and to build up where I'm from, because we never had that. And what I want to see is the Toronto scene and the Canadian music scene boom as much as it can. I want everybody to flourish, you know, I want everybody to grow, and I want the scene to be as big as it can.
What advice do you have to young producers and songwriters about kind of the business of music?
Take your time with everything. Your story is not gonna be the same as anybody else's story, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own path. I hear a lot of people always talking about, oh man, I'm getting older. Like, you know, a lot of people like to put age limits on things, but like this day and age, like if you're making timeless music, there's no age limit. Don't rush anything. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just continue doing what you love and actually love what you're doing. If you love basketball, sleep with a basketball. If you love music, sleep with music on. You gotta eat, sleep, and breathe this, so.
You are a massive hip hop head, but I think more recently I read that you're kind of like expanding your sonic horizons in terms of what you're listening to, be it like pop or more R&B, because you feel like it will help your songwriting. And I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about that.
I think it's very important to expand beyond your genre, because you might find something that you can bring back to your genre. One of my favorite times in music was when Justin Timberlake dropped Future Sex Love Sounds. Timberland was using sounds and that I've never heard used in urban music before. Like, you know, a lot of arpeggiated synths and whatnot, which was more used in like dance music. It's always good to keep an open mind and listen to other music and, you know, try things, because you never know what could happen.
What can you tell us about the new Drake record? Can you tell us anything?
He's working and it's fire. That's the most I can get. He's always fire, you know, like that's one thing. That guy does not disappoint. He delivers every time. So, you know, it's just Drake being Drake.
You're not actually like a trained musician, right?
Not at all. I'm not trained in any musical anything. It's actually crazy that I can do music at all, because like I don't know anything about music, what to do with like notes, chords, keys, none of that. I just know what sounds good, and if that sounds good, yeah, let's go with it. Like me, I'm just not technical at all, and I enjoy that, because like I feel like for myself, getting too technical it's like homework to me. But I do work with a lot of musicians too, a lot of guys that do actually know a lot about music. Fellow co-producer of mine, Jahan Sweet, he's went to Juilliard. What I know mixed with what he knows, and sometimes combined together, like we create masterpieces because of that.
So back in the day when you were using Fruity Loops, was that just, you were just teaching yourself?
Literally, I just turned every knob and figured out what everything did. I was like, what does this do? Okay, mental note. What does this do? Okay, mental note. Till this day, I'll go around certain guys, like I work with T- often. He's a real wizard when it comes to FL. He does uses a lot of tutorials, research. He shows me stuff sometimes I never even knew about. You know, so at the same time, I'm still learning too. We went to the same high school together. Me and him were both really interested in production, and you know, we'd go to each other's houses, and like I would show him stuff on FL and whatnot, and then you know, he just developed into his own thing, and you know, he has the same passion for music as I do.
Who are you excited about at the moment? Like, who would your sort of top tips be?
Oh yeah, I'm really, right now, I have an artist named Savannah Ray. We just finished a whole project. I'm extremely excited about Savannah. We just put out a song called Where You Are. It's incredible, doing really well. I'm seeing a lot of people showing love for it. Much appreciated. She's homegrown too. She's from Toronto. And she's just amazing. And I've been working with her for years, and I'm glad that everybody's seeing her music now and hearing her music and just the progress in her, period. And you know, I always wanted people to see and hear it, and now people finally are, and I'm so happy and excited about it.
Great. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and talking. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And thanks for having me. Appreciate you.